Now, a lot of times I don't make videos like this anymore, not because I don't care, but because they are certainly dated by the time a movie comes out. But I am extremely excited for what is coming up with Marvel. And I know that this is a bunch of nostalgia. I understand that. I get it. But as someone who grew up with these characters, I am hyped because Fox's X-Men are coming back for the Avengers Doomsday movie. I mean, the event, the whole thing. Now, we don't know about Secret Wars, obviously, where it's like you basically have two parts, like two movies here, kind of like Infinity War and Endgame. My cat just jumped on my chair in case you heard that very loud noise. We don't really know about how that's going to work. And there are some characters that are not confirmed yet. But I am really excited about this because two of my favorites, Ian McKellen actually as Magneto, as the older version of Magneto that we saw in the original X-Men trilogy, and of course, as well later on in things like Days of Future Past and stuff like that. Well, he's coming back as Magneto, and then we even have Patrick Stewart back as Professor X. And there's a lot more actually that's been revealed on this live stream from Marvel, so I do think it's really, really cool. But I want to talk about this for a few minutes, and I have a question of the day for you, which is, what is one Marvel character from the past, from live action, that you want to see appear at least once in the MCU? Maybe in one of these big events, like a multiverse thing, whatever, because I'm interested in that. And there are a few that are not confirmed yet that I'm pretty sure will be here that we'll talk about too. Now, that said, this isn't a full cast breakdown, but some of the ones that are absolutely confirmed right now are, like I said, Ian McKellen. He's coming back as Magneto. There is Patrick Stewart as Professor X. These two are very important to me for one reason, and it's not to sound morbid, but it's the same reason it was very important to me to see Patrick Stewart return as Picard. These are characters that are immortal in a way. Like, they will be around, these characters will be around, whether they're popular or not, long after we are gone. Like, we as human beings, you and me, maybe our great grandkids, even if it's just sitting in a pile somewhere of comics in a secondhand store, or it's sitting on someone's shelf or a streaming service as a movie, characters like Magneto and Professor X will still be around, but their actors won't be forever. These are actors who are getting a lot older, and I'm not saying like I'm preying on their downfall, like, well, they got a couple months left. I'm not saying that. Like, they're healthy guys. But there's only so much time that you have to show any kind of closure on these characters if you wanted to do anything with that. So for me, I'm very excited to see these two back in particular because of their age as actors. That's one reason I'm so excited for that. Now, that said, this is obviously the multiverse saga, right? As the one person not tired of the multiverse who's actually enjoying it, I was disappointed we didn't get to see some of those characters pop up in some way in something like Deadpool and Wolverine, a movie I loved, but I thought, why are there references to some of these characters, but then they never show up? So that's awesome to me, but also one that I know is very passionate about his role and has wanted to come back to it for probably a decade is actually James Marsden as Cyclops, and he is coming back. James Marsden Cyclops is coming back in this film, in Avengers Doomsday. Again, after that, who knows? I'm 99.9% sure they are going to do a new X-Men cast, a younger X-Men, younger mutants in the MCU, because at the end of the day, they're not going to want to cast a bunch of 40, 50, 60-year-olds to play roles for the next decade or two. They're just not going to want to do that. What they want to do with all these films, and it's the same thing they're doing with the new James Bond that we talked about recently, is they often want to aim lower on the age range because then they want to lock an actor into a contract for 5 movies so that they can essentially have a cinematic universe where they don't have to recast unless someone tragically passes. They want to lock you in. So for James Marsden coming back, just like Ian McKellen and of course, Patrick Stewart, I really think a lot of this is going to be about closure. He's a character who, he's an actor who, as Cyclops, kind of got screwed a little bit. Like, in the first movie, he's good. In the second movie, he's just mind controlled. And then in the third movie, he's unceremoniously just kind of pushed out of the film because of scheduling conflicts, which was really unfortunate in the Fox X-Men. But Cyclops is super important. So it's going to be nice to actually see him back and doing something. Another one confirmed is Kelsey Grammer is actually going to be in here as Beast. And Kelsey Grammer, great quality guy. I love his acting. He does a fantastic job. And to me, really the only thing that was interesting in the Marvels movie was actually seeing him at the very end, seeing him show up in a post-credits scene as Beast and seeing that he's still out there. So that said, there's a lot of characters that are not confirmed that I am wondering about. There's characters like X-23 is not confirmed. Obviously Daphne Keane is very open to returning to that role. Deadpool's not confirmed. Hulk's not confirmed. No Blade. Not even Spider-Man. Like Tom Holland's Spider-Man wasn't mentioned. Doctor Strange, I don't believe, was mentioned. So here's the thing. Any number of these actors could lie, because that's, something they're supposed to do. They lie for a living, pretending to be someone that they're not. And they could say, no, I'm not in the movie. We saw that before with Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. I personally think that the big issue with this film is going to be if you don't include some of these other characters. Like, let's say Andrew and Toby don't show up, or Tom doesn't show up. That'll never happen. But let's say Tom doesn't show up as Spider-Man, or maybe you don't have Hugh Jackman in this movie as Wolverine. There's going to be people pointing to it saying, hey, where were they? So that's the biggest issue, right? And you can't have a 10-hour movie. So you have to be able to have these characters in there, have kind of like a celebration. For some, it's a goodbye. For some, it might be a new beginning. But for the Fox universe, I think the big thing Marvel is doing is I think they know that even though that universe wasn't beloved in every aspect, that they did kind of screw it over in a way when they did the takeover. When they took over Fox, there was all these allegations of Disney messing with Dark Phoenix, and there's conflicting reports on Dark Phoenix. Like, at one point it was going to be 2 movies, then the conflicting report becomes, did it become 1 movie because of Fox before the merger? Did it become 1 movie because of Disney? And then at that point, there's all these allegations of they made them remove the Skrulls from it and throw in an alien race no one really cared about. My point is, I think that acquisition did cause a lot of issues too. There was even ideas of a Daphne Keane-led X-23 film in that old Fox continuity, not like, to ruin Logan, but as like kind of a, now where is she now? After Logan's sacrifice, where is she? And all of this stuff got scrapped. So when Deadpool and Wolverine came out, it was kind of like a goodbye to the Fox universe in a way, but not entirely. Like, a lot of characters were not in there. Maybe they were mentioned, or maybe a version of them was mentioned, and that was it. And I would be shocked if Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, some version of him, Deadpool, the 3 Spider-Men, and I'm being serious, all 3, if those 5 characters at least don't appear in this, I would be shocked. I do think some people hoping for street-level heroes in this, like Daredevil, it's possible. I mean, Charlie Cox did appear in the Spider-Man in the 3rd film, No Way Home, but I wouldn't hold my breath on that one. I really think that some of these big cinematic nostalgia characters are going to appear. I think the big thing is going to be balancing them. And I also think if you're having Ian and Patrick back as their title roles, the ones I keep circling back to, if you bring in Hugh Jackman, I personally think, and I don't know how you'd fit this in the movie, but I really do personally think that they should retcon in a way or explain the timeline better, because I love Deadpool and Wolverine, but I'm sorry, I don't buy that the Logan Wolverine was the one from like X-Men 1 or 2. It was kind of vague about it, but like the way that they did the old timeline, the way that it was kind of pushed was essentially that it followed it to a point. Like, essentially that there was like X-Men 1, 2, 3, all the original timeline. Then Days of Future Past reset it. Then, of course, there was kind of a new timeline. And it was always kind of vague, where Logan was like a possible future. But also another possible future was the happy ending at the end of Days of Future Past. But then when Deadpool and Wolverine came out, they kind of acted like Logan was just Wolverine all along. Like, just the version of Wolverine, and that his death ruined the Fox universe. So it's like, I feel like Marvel could have made things easier when they came in and dealt with Fox with their timelines, because their timelines were always stupidly screwed up. but they kind of made it more complicated, because then it makes you think like, okay, well then, so the happy ending of Days of Future Past happens, and then a handful of years later, everything just goes to shit immediately, and there were no mutants being born. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, I feel like some of the stuff Deadpool and Wolverine didn't fit super well with the Fox universe, even though I loved it as an explanation. So I kind of feel like if they're bringing these characters back, I'm excited for it. I love it. I'm hyped. But I do hope that they don't do more shenanigans like that. You either have to leave it alone at this point, and hardcore people like me who think too much just have to deal with it and just either headcanon it out or not care, or you have to explain it away in a good way this time that makes these timelines make sense and makes why all these universes are colliding make sense. They did tease the incursions a little bit already, especially with something like the end of Captain America Brave New World. There is kind of a post-credits spoiler teaser of that, if you haven't seen it. So, I don't know. I think they'll be able to explain why they're all here, but I think the explanation of the Fox timeline, I am wondering what they're going to do with that, because I wasn't super impressed with their explanation of that for Deadpool and Wolverine. I thought it was kind of, it felt like they didn't understand the timelines, just like Fox didn't. So I don't know, maybe that's just history repeating itself, and as George Lucas used to say, maybe that's just one piece of fiction rhyming with another one. But let me know what you think in the comments down below. I'm very, very interested in this. I'm excited. I probably showed a bunch of gameplay during this and some clips of movies and stuff, because I'm trying to get this up quickly for today. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, subscribe. Fortnite code DJAY123 goes to help support our channel. And of course, we do have our store, CosmoBunny.shop. Coasters, keychains, trays, and more from recycled paper, from comics, manga, magazines, etc. These are things where it's like books that cannot be sold by local businesses. The books are damaged. We take the paper that's not damaged. We take the art that's not damaged. We transform it into something new for your home in a new medium, transformatively. There was a whole point of fair use anyway, to make something new out of something old instead of throwing it out. That's what we do. I hope you'll check that out. Discount code DJAY123 nets you 10% off your first order. Have a fantastic day. And as always, everyone, stay shway. And my fingers are really crossed. Toby, Andrew, Tom, Hugh. I need these. Oh, I forgot to mention the actress who played Mystique is coming back too. Sorry, I forgot to mention that one. Okay. All right, I'm hyped. Bye.